Hey everyone, this is Lomi back with my sketchbook, and while I have some things on order for Garam's outfit, I'm stuck waiting for them to arrive, so I'm tackling a smaller project instead. I had a goal to create the main crew of my ongoing epic fantasy series Spectrum Legacy as Nendoroid dolls, and today I'm working on Lark. I had a rough sketch of what I wanted to do, but ended up deciding to simplify a bit just to make my life easier and make the customization faster because we're also in the middle of renovating one of the bathrooms in my house. So everything is a mess and my hands are all scraped up from using power tools and demolishing stuff, so doing something gentle and easy sounded really nice. I've had the stuff for this project for a long time and just lacked the energy to tackle putting it all together, and I sort of feel bad about that because my original plan involved doing one Nendoroid alongside each book I wrote, so I'd have the chance to talk about them. But life got too busy, I got overwhelmed, developed some hobby burnout, and ended up not really doing that at all. I made Zaide and I made Andriun, so the two boys from the crew are done, and there's just the girls left. I'm also in the middle of preparing the last book for release, and pretty much nothing has gone well or according to plan. It was supposed to come out at the beginning of the year, and it's now late June and it's still not out or even finished because of delays with the cover, the editing, the proofing, basically the whole thing. So maybe getting a little doll done to go with the book will feel like progress when everything else is outside my control. And maybe that will be cathartic when the book project itself has been really stressful and overwhelming. While in the book, Lark usually has her hair up in a ponytail, both covers she's on depict her with her hair down, and I decided to match the doll to that for now. I ended up finding some hair I felt would work on Chibi Chop Shop, and it happens to be blonde too, so I don't even need to paint it. I'm not totally sold on the side pony, but I might be able to remove that and cap the bow with a gem or something if I decide I don't like it. Having hair ready to go saved tons of time. Then I had a little elf faceplate I got from a friend that I'd planned to use for something else, but it somehow got a stain on the forehead, so I figured I'd just wipe it and repaint it to make Lark's face. I don't know how the stain happened, but the faceplate seems to be a decent match for the body. I originally wanted a peach tone body for Lark, but couldn't get one and settled for almond milk. It's paler than she should be since the character has kind of a Mediterranean golden complexion, but sometimes when options are limited, we settle a bit. I might be able to darken her someday. I hoped the staining might come off when I wiped the faceplate with acetone, but it didn't. There are chemicals that can help with that, but it's going to be covered by her hair, so I decided it doesn't matter. I wiped the face with water and let it dry, and then I get it ready for painting with some Vallejo matte varnish mixed with an equal amount of Flow Aid. I apply this with a paintbrush and it's thin enough to be self-leveling, so that's nice. While the faceplate dried, I had time to work on something else. Her outfit will resemble the upcoming book's unfinished cover more than my previous sketches, so it'll be a pair of tan trousers and a plain but loose-fitting sleeveless red shirt. Easy to make. I used patterns I already have designed for dolls this size and just trimmed them to the size I wanted after I cut out the fabric. I already have videos up for how to sew a lot of these older patterns, so I'll skip that for now. The shirt will open in the back to make space for the stand's peg. At first, I thought I'd sew the clothes by hand since they're so small, but I've been doing a lot of manual labor lately, so my wrists started hurting right away, and I switched to the sewing machine instead, which was tricky but faster. A few minutes later, I had her pants, just needing Velcro in the back. As another time saver, I decided to give her a pair of boots from an Nendoroid doll I picked up on clearance at GameStop several years ago that I scavenged for parts. Her boots on the cover are brown and these are black, but painting on the joints doesn't work well, so I'll leave it be. For her shirt, I skipped the hand sewing and went right to the machine, so it went together pretty quick too. It wants to ride up just a little because of how small the doll is, but once the stand peg is in her back, that will force it to stay down, so I'm not super worried about how it lays right now. The trickiest part of her whole outfit was making the belt. I had some pre-made belt strips and tiny buckles from I Sew for Doll, so I used those to create her belt the same as what I did when I made my Nendoroid doll for Zaide. Unfortunately, I forgot to zoom out my camera for this part, so I ended up with not a lot of footage and nothing in focus. I've gone so long without making videos that I haven't had time to practice with my new camera. While I knew I wanted to simplify her jewelry, I wasn't sure how to go about making it. My first thought was using some foil adhesive vinyl, so I cut it into strips and wrapped it around her arms. And while it looks great, it doesn't stick very well, so I don't think it's going to work out for what I wanted. I'll have to revisit this later. Sure enough, as soon as I started putting her belt on, which was super annoying and fiddly work, the vinyl started popping right back off. The foil vinyl is a lot stiffer than regular permanent vinyl, so it can be a lot harder to get it to adhere. But maybe there's something else I can use. I don't want to paint it on her because I want it to be removable. Eventually, I'm going to make her a dress too. Even though she's very hands-on with the quest and the book series, she's still a proper and prissy kind of girl. By now, the sealant on the faceplate is dry, so I grab my watercolor pencils and use some white for some basic size guidelines. This is visible to me, but not so much on camera, and it helps with placement. I sketch on top of it with a regular mechanical pencil, which is something we don't see in face-up super often because it makes a dark gray mark instead of black, but it is perfectly safe to use on dolls. You just want to avoid heavy coverage with this because the graphite repels moisture and can prevent sealant from taking nicely. I used some ecru paint for her eyebrows, but it doesn't show up as well as I thought based on the swatch, so that will need some help. But this is just the first layer of her face, so trust the process or something like that. Nothing will go on smoothly or evenly or as darkly colored as the ultimate goal is, so you just have to keep going and build it up a bit at a time. For my black pencil here, I'm using one I just got, because I've always wanted to try Caran d'Ache pencils, as they're supposed to be like the best watercolor pencil in existence, and I can immediately say that the texture is amazing, and the color laydown is also fantastic, which is probably why these pencils cost about $5 each, and that is the main reason I haven't tried them before. I got two to try for face-ups with some of my prize money from winning my 3rd literary award earlier this year, but because of the price, I can't see myself buying a whole set anytime soon. These are the kind you collect very slowly over time, I think, because a full set is hundreds of dollars, and I just don't use them enough to justify that. I darken the edges of the eyebrows just a little with a watercolor pencil, and then use some Vallejo white paint to begin the whites of the eyes. These always look really bad in the first layer, but that's okay, because books are always kinda lousy at first too, and get better as you work through the draft again and again to shape it into the story it was supposed to be. Each face-up layer is like that, a draft that gets better with each pass. Unfortunately, as soon as I went to spray sealant on this, because you can't brush sealant on watercolor pencils, it started raining. A raindrop hit my faceplate and ruined everything. I really wanted to finish this doll though, so I sealed the faceplate again and came back with a plan B. I drew some eyes in Procreate, printed them on sticker paper, and cut them out with my Silhouette Cameo 3. The black is overdrawn, so there won't be any visible white edges on the sticker. I don't usually use glossy sticker paper, so I kinda messed up the cut settings, which made it hard to peel the stickers, but it's not a huge deal. I used tweezers to help me place the eye, and that worked so much better than it had any right to. Did I seriously fight painting these little faceplates all this time when I could have just used stickers to make even better looking eyes this easily? Unreal. Getting the second eye on with good placement was trickier, so I kind of tapped to tack it down a few times without committing, so I could easily lift it and move it and get the placement just right. I also had trimmed the white on the inside edge of the second eye and liked it a lot better, so I went back to trim the first eye the same way, making it rounder. Then the eye creases went on with my mechanical pencil, and the eyebrows are a couple watercolor pencils blended together and cleaned up with a white vinyl eraser. She won't get handled a lot, so sealing her can wait until a drier day since her eyes are stickers and don't need to be sealed. For now, I can go ahead and put her together. While I was working on the faceplate, I remembered I had some coppery colored pearl vinyl, which is a lot thinner and stickier than the gold foil vinyl. It's not the color I wanted, but I can always grab a pearl gold if it works well, so it's worth testing as a placeholder for right now. It's definitely a lot easier to manipulate and sticks to itself better, so hopefully it'll stay. If it pops off over the next few days, I'll see if I can come up with another temporary solution. I might need to just 3D print her some jewelry. One thing I do use the foil vinyl for is making her a crown. It's pressed on paper and cut to the shape, and then that just gets pinched between the front and back of her hair pieces. Now she's looking like a proper girly elf princess. Last of all, I add a little more girliness to her outfit by including a bow at her back. I just tie this onto her belt to make it easy. And there she is, Princess of Amroke, heir to the throne and chosen one reject who is incredibly salty about being denied what should have been her destiny, while the sword that can save her kingdom instead chose a nobody from the enemy empire to save her home. So Lark joins the bookshelf next to the series, right alongside Zaide and Andriun and the sword that was really supposed to be hers. At this rate, I might have all the dolls done before the last book is. And that's all for today, though. Thanks for watching. Bye.